Love and light, everyone. Welcome back to the Club U222. Listen to me, and listen to me good, okay? Any form of rejection, any form of pushback, any form of we ain't ready, putting this on hold, any form of try again next year, any form of any kind of rejection, anyone under the sound of my voice, anyone who blessed to turn onto this video, listen to me. That rejection is God's protection. That rejection, whatever that rejection may be, whatever that downfall may be, understand this for real, especially in this season. That rejection is God's that rejection is God's protection. I want to say projection. That rejection is God's protection. Let me tell y'all something. It's so easy for us to get discouraged and lose faith and hope when things don't work out the way we anticipated, or when we make plans for something to go a certain way. And for whatever reason, you then do everything you could. You didn't put in so much energy. You didn't put in so much time. You didn't made so much changes, so much sacrifices. You didn't do so much for this thing to work out in the favor you wanted to work out to. It is so easy to fall into that woe is me energy, that the world is against me, or I could never do anything right. Please don't start to think like that, because in this season, this harvest time for real, this is the time to receive all of the seeds you've planted, all of the things you've been working, all of the new projects, anything that you've been trying to develop. It could be self-work. It could be anything that you are in the season of developing. It is harvest time. But in the same harvest time right here, it's important to understand when things don't work out in your favor, don't take that as, oh, I failed. Oh, I don't succeed at anything. I always lose. Nothing ever works out. My relationships don't work out. My jobs don't work out. I'm fighting my own self. I can't heal for my own things. Please don't think like that. Anything that you have set up to receive and you have not received, please know it's a form of protection. We make our own plans. And don't get me wrong, it is beautiful and very important to have vision, to have a dream, to have insight. It is essential to have those things. But at the same time, do not get discouraged when things don't go the way you thought they would go. You got to really trust your master's plan. Like, you really have to, and that's one thing I'm still learning in this season now. I would say this is one of my biggest lessons of the year. Really trusting and releasing. Once you give something over to God, once you already had that moment of realization that, something, I done the best I could do. I did the best I could do. Let me pass this over. Because there are things that you are stressing about, or be stressed about and worry about, that are beyond our control. That's how people is really be killing out themselves, they really be stressing over things, getting heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, all of these things, because they're overworking their minds, their bodies, and their souls over things that's supposed to be in the hands of God. But that comes with what? Trusting and releasing. Trust and release, it don't even have to be a burden. It could be anything that you are dealing with or thinking about that the only person who could come in the middle of this is the Most High God. This situation needed divine intervention. And only when you request that, but when you ask that of God and you trust that, you can't trust that and still be stressing and fretting over whatever the thing is. You got to trust that and say, something, I release in this. God, have your way. Have your way. Because everything you do is well done. Whatever that thing is, have your way. I trust it and I release in that. And I'm also accepting, acknowledging, and understanding that if something does not work out in my favor, if something doesn't go according to my plan, if something looks like a closed door in my face, if something appears to be a big no in my face, that's God's divine protection over me. All right, for whatever reason, I ain't supposed to have that. Maybe I thought that's what I'm supposed to have. In my heart, my heart of hearts, in my mind, I thought this was the person I'm supposed to be with, or I thought this was the door I'm supposed to walk through. This is the career I'm supposed to have. This the dream I'm supposed to start. And for some reason, it just keep like failing. It looks like failure, or it looks like it ain't working on my favor. It looks like I can't do anything right. And listen, it's so easy to start thinking, I can't do nothing right, and naturally start to self-sabotage. I can't do nothing right. Nothing works out. I have hard luck. You know, that is so easy. It's so easy. And there are many energies out there who want you to think like that and feel like that. But the best thing that you can do with trusting and releasing is understanding that anything that I do not receive, because I know how in alignment I am with God, how in alignment I am with this universe, how in alignment I am with everything happening in me and around me, that if something does not happen for me, that's in my best interest. Especially when you know you're a genuine person, especially when you're doing your self-work, especially when you're able to look yourself in the mirror, make these corrections, start this healing process, show up as a better person to yourself first than everybody else. When you're doing the work for yourself, that impacts yourself and everyone else around you. So you must understand that if something that you deem as good in your mind does not turn out in the way you need it to be, it ain't because you ain't a good person. It ain't because you don't put the work in. It ain't because you don't deserve these things and this success and these beautiful things to be excited about. But a lot of it have to do with God protecting us from certain things. And that's another thing we would know. But why would I get protected from? Well, if we were to know every single thing God protecting us from, I don't think our human minds can be able to like sustain that. I don't think. I think if we knew every evil force, every evil person, every evil energy that has an intent to break us, and if we saw that coming every single time, I don't know if we would be, I don't think we can handle that. Which is why when these things happen, when these rejections, cancellations, when these delays, when these things happen, you have to trust and know, God, I know I had it in my mind. I was excited for this thing to come at this date. I wanted this thing to happen. I thought I was able to receive this. I wanted this kind of lifestyle. I wanted this, and this, and this. But understand that any kind of rejection is God's protection over you. And when you go against the grain of that, when you keep seeing these rejections and God's showing you the signs and the symbols, say, hey, let's stop doing this thing. Let's just put it down for a second. Let's get recentered back to self. Let's focus on some other things. When you go against that, then you see the other side of that. Then you see what God was actually trying to protect you from. So really and even I'm still working on this, Lord. And y'all, I want y'all to know everything I talk about are things that either I've seen and had to grow and understand from, or that I'm currently healing, understanding, and seeing through now. I don't know everything. I don't even know nothing, if that makes sense. But I'm sharing my experiences, and I'm sharing the things that I know help me not become a victim. It's so easy to dive into a victim mentality. It is so easy to make yourself out to be the person who nothing good ever happens to, and you're not that. But if you start thinking like that, that's what's going to happen, because we are what we attract. If you constantly think nothing good happens for me, I always get the worst end of the stick, God doesn't hear my cries, everything fails, then that is what your life will be. But if you really submit, trust, and release that, God, whatever you have for me, all I ask that you do for me is to give me the tools I need to keep this. Give me the tools I need, the knowledge I need to be as powerful as I need to be, as happy, as sane as I need to be. Give me more courage to ask you for more trust and patience when I don't understand what's going on in these times. Give me that. Ask God for those things. Don't ask God for the superficial things, because you ain't gonna get it. Like, really trust and release and ask God to give you the things that you need. Patience. Give me more trust. Give me more release on control. Because we can't control everything. We don't control nothing, if that makes sense. And I have to keep saying it like that because we have to really remember that we this big, you know? We this big. We serve a God who is the creator of everything. The creator of all things. The creator of the sun rise every day and the sunset every day. See, we don't control, they're the big things. We don't control life because that's a life force right there. And that same life force controls this life force. And we got a consistent God that is give us a sunrise and a sunset every day. We have a consistent God that gives us different seasons throughout the year. You all understand what I'm saying? Give that trust, give that energy, give that power over, because that's what's going to keep your sanity. That's what's going to keep you going. Understanding that, God, if you decide that I don't need to be living here no more, or I don't need to be in this connection no more, or you showing me the signs that I need to leave this alone, it's toxic, it's a headache, I can't sleep, these are the signs and the symbols we have to see and realize, okay, these things that are happening around me and around my life and in front of me, these things actually like teaching me something. You know what I mean? Like, if you keep seeing, look out for patterns in numbers, patterns in words, patterns in cycles. Look at patterns, because patterns give you the answer you're looking for. Patterns show you repetition. That shows you the truth and the essence of something when you keep seeing those things repeat itself. That was my quick little message. But what I want to let y'all know is God's divine rejection is your divine protection. Don't ever think, especially when you come humble as a child, especially when you bear it all with no ego. Don't ever think God don't hear your cries or see what you deserve or where you need to be. But a big part of that is really trusting and releasing. Now, wherever I need to be, I'm going to get there. Yes, I got a few no's. Yes, I was in some bad relationships. Yeah, I was a toxic cheater. Yes, this was happening. Or yeah, whatever. Understand that God's protection, God's rejection is divine protection over you and to anyone attached to you and who is an extension of you. You don't fail. You never fail. Don't ever think that. Don't ever think you fail. I feel like failure is another mindset attached to fear that patriarchy has made us believe. Sadly, you don't fail. You may have not succeeded in the ways that you foresee for yourself, but even in a failure, you still win. Because if you could pull out a blessing and an understanding from a failure or something that didn't go the way you expected it to be, if you focus on what can I do to make this more successful next time? What did I learn? Well, maybe I missed something. If you focus on that instead of, oh, I ain't win, or I lose, you're already missing the whole thing. God's rejection is your divine protection. Love and light, y'all.